Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we're going to be talking Unmatched Deadpool, and this is published by Restoration Games and Mondo Games.
All right, you guys, Unmatched is a whole system of games. It's basically, you have a small little board that you have to buy from one of the bigger sets, right? And it's going to have some kind of movement restrictions. You're going to have minis that you're moving around the board. Every faction that you play with is its own total thing. You might have stuff from Jurassic Park, Deadpool, and other Marvel characters. Stuff from Norse mythology. We might be playing with, like Sinbad, not the actor, but the the character. Or what if they made a Sinbad or a comedian expansion?
Yes, they totally should. Yeah.
But yes, all these different crazy factions and crazy, individual people from all over, real history, probably not real history, mythology, literature, whatever. Anyways, they all have their own shtick to them. They all have their own deck of cards that you're going through. You are attacking each other. You are trying to ultimately be either the last person standing or, you can also die by way of not having a deck. You have a deck of cards. Once you draw the last card and you need to draw another one, you're out for that reason too, so you want to be careful about that. So today we're going to be specifically talking about Deadpool and all the things that he can do, but just want to give you kind of an overview of what Unmatched was. All these different factions fighting it out on the battlefield, trying to be the last person standing.
On the battle board.
On the battle board, that's right. All right, guys, let me give you a quick overview of what it might look like. I'm going to match it up with Jurassic Park, just to kind of give you guys to see what that might look like, and then see how good Deadpool can stand against him. All right, if you ever wanted to match up Deadpool to see how he would fight up against basically anybody else, this is the way to do it. We're playing Unmatched. Now, obviously, by himself, it's just a box, his deck of cards, his own things that he needs to be able to play. However, you need a couple more things to play. You need, first of all, another person to fight against. In this case, we have the Raptors from the Jurassic Park expansion. You also need a map. This is also coming from the Jurassic Park board. So basically, you can mix and match any two factions and any board combinations that you have in order to play Unmatched. There are two ways to win the game. First of all, you either want to be the last person standing by way of having health. Everybody has a health dial. Obviously, Deadpool is just one person. The Raptors actually have three different Raptors. They all have a smaller amount of health, but there's three of them. In order to win, you have to defeat all three of their healths down to 0. The other way to win is everybody has a deck of cards. It's all tailor-made to them and their abilities, what they can do as characters. However, if you ever need to draw a card and there's no card for you there, well, you lose the game that way too. So you either want to be the last person standing by way of having cards in your deck, or the last person standing by way of health on your dial. Now, Deadpool himself is the one who made his own deck of cards, so they're all very handmade, hand-drawn, as you can see. They all function the same way as the regular cards that would be in a normal deck. As you can see, let's say these look a little bit more clean and professional, but, Deadpool had to work with what he had, so that's why they look the way they look, which is very meta and true to form for Deadpool. I want to show you a few things. This kind of card, with the kind of that red explosion there, that is called an attack card. And whatever that value is, that's how much damage it's going to do. Alright, there's also defense cards. Defense cards have that blue symbol and that shield symbol, and that value below there is how much they can block. So in this case, if we had a 5 and a 5, that actually would do no damage. However, there are some other abilities, like this one says, after combat, do extra damage if you own the Deadpool Unmatched set. This one says, after combat, your opponent looks at their hand and chooses a card for you to discard. So, there's different things like that are going on. Now, there's also this symbol here, which is a combination of the attack and the shield symbol. That can be used either to block or to attack. And, of course, there's more Deadpool text here. During combat, if this card isn't sleeved, its value is a 5 instead of a 2. So why would you ever sleeve it? And then it says, after combat, if you're not wearing any pants, go put some on. Seems obvious to me. Then there's these things called scheme cards. Scheme cards have that lightning bolt symbol. They're just kind of basically a one-shot action that do something. This one says, tip your figure over, make a fainting noise, recover 2 health, reset your figure. All these cards also have a little boost value. That's going to add to your movement if you decide to discard an extra card. And we'll get to that here in a minute. Every character is going to have their own card here. It does a couple of things. First of all, it says whether or not they can do melee attacks or ranged attacks. Melee attacks, you actually have to be right next to someone in an adjacent spot in order to attack them. If you can do a ranged attack, that basically means that you can attack them anywhere in the same color. Like if I'm over here in gray and some of my opponents over here in gray, I can still actually attack them with a ranged weapon. Every character also has a special ability. This one says, after you attack, Deadpool recovers 1 health. And this one also says, if your opponent's real name is Logan, all your attacks are +5. So if your name is Logan, stay away from anyone with the Deadpool set. You're going to be hurting. Even though we're not specifically talking about the Raptors, their ability is add +1 to the value of your attack cards for each of the other Raptors adjacent to the defender. So they're going to try to swarm and surround you, and when they do attacks, their attacks are all going to be strengthened by the fact that there's more Raptors surrounding them. So that's kind of their strategy. On your turn, there's 3 things that you can do, and you have to take 2 actions. It's mandatory, you have to take them. You can't just take 1 or 0. You can't pass. So the first thing you can do is maneuver. What you do when you maneuver is you draw a card. You're trying to find something that works for your hand. So maybe some attack cards, some defense cards, some schemes, whatever the case might be. That's a mandatory thing. You have to draw a card because, again, that's one of the ways that you can lose the game. So you have to do that. And then part of maneuvering is also to move your fighters up to their range. So this is 2 we have over here for Deadpool. But then it also says you can boost the movement. You can discard 1 card to boost your movement. Remember, that boost is that number right there in the circle on those cards. So if we wanted to move, we could move to up to 2, boost it with an additional card by discarding it. All right, the next action we can do is we can do the schemes. That's a middle action there. It says play one of those lightning bolt cards. So again, in this case, if we want to do that, we do one of those kind of cards. This particular one gives us some health, but there's all different. Every character has a whole bunch of different schemes, and they all do different things that match their character name. The last action you can do is you can play an attack. So you need to play one of those attack symbols or one of those hybrid attack/defense cards. And in this case, since he's a melee attacker, he would need to be adjacent to another fighter on the opposing team in order to do that. So a turn might look like this. Maybe we want to do our first thing, which is maneuver. We're going to draw a card, put it into our hand. We're going to move 2 spaces. But you know what? We're not close enough. So let's discard a card in order to boost it, to give us a little bit more. Let's discard this one over here to give us 2 more movement. We're now adjacent to this one over here. For our second action, we can do an attack. So we would secretly put a card down. They would put a card down, let's say this one here. We'd reveal simultaneously. We've got a 5. They've got a 2. Their card says immediately cancel all effects of your opponent's card. So this wouldn't necessarily do this extra damage that the bottom text of this would do because they blocked it. But still, we've got 5 minus 2. We're going to do 3 damage to this particular guy here. We'll move our dial down to reflect the damage that was done to them. Then it's going to be their turn. They're going to do their 2 actions. We're going to keep on going round and round and round until one of the factions is knocked out, either by way of their health going down to 0 or their deck going down to 0. So again, whoever the last person standing is declared the winner. All right, you guys, so as you saw and as you can imagine, anytime Deadpool is in any kind of game or whatever, he's breaking that 4th wall. He's directly talking to us, which is hilarious. I think the fact that he designed his own set, right? Deadpool designed his set. He made the cards out of whatever he could find at home and pasted them in together.
Even the box has
it's all taped together, and it's just hilarious to me. Drawings and just very, very Deadpool-y. If you're worried about this as well, this whole thing is PG. There's nothing that's past that. I know Deadpool can kind of venture into those realms in certain iterations. This is all PG. But yeah, this is it's super. There's a lot of emphasis on comedy and talking to us directly as the character, as the players, and that kind of thing. But it still works within the set, right? It's not like it's too silly. It still works functionally perfectly, and it's balanced and all those things. It's just that it's a Deadpool fashion because why not?
Because you can.
Yeah.
So Deadpool doesn't seem to have a lot of health, right? He starts with 10 health, and this just didn't seem like a lot, but it actually worked really well because he regains health every time he attacks. And so as long as he's attacking, he's getting his health back. And there's cards that will manipulate that as well. So we found that when we played, it was actually a lot more balanced than we assumed it was going to be because of that. Because we're like, wow, this is going to be a really short game. But it wasn't. And it worked out really well to the point of, like, both of the scores were, like, both of the health were going in at the same time. We actually, one of the times we lost one round, if we would have survived, would have been because of the health, and the other round, the other player, it was the cards. Like, it worked. It actually worked really well.
Yeah, I think that his cards are a little bit swingier than some of the cards I've seen from other decks. Like, it seems like some cards are really underpowered. Some are very, I don't want to say overpowered, but they're very strong. but they maintain balance in the overall system. You only get one shot at those crazy strong cards.
Yeah.
And there's not that many of them. Maybe only 2 or 3 in the whole deck that I thought were like finishing move kind of things. And every deck has a little bit of that too. Every one of the factions has some combination or has some ability that's really powerful.
It just seemed like his was like farther on the spectrum.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Weaker on some respects, stronger in some respects. And a lot of things out of the context of the game too, like taking someone out for a drink, or a meal, or buying them a taco, or whatever it was.
Or what was it? If somebody was named Logan, then this card has +5.
Yeah. If your real life opponent his name is Logan, you get to do extra damage to them because Deadpool does not like Logan.
Yeah, and so we found with these, at least these 2 sets, that the minis were pretty decent quality. They were pre-washed, and so if we had artistic ability in that span, we could try something out like that, but they seemed really good. They had the nice texture that came with them. So at least these ones, and I'm assuming it's going to be the same for all of the other sets because that's what we've seen so far. So it's really nice textured pre-washed minis.
You guys, I don't know how they come up with a balanced system between such varied factions and such varied decks of cards, but in our experience so far, at least, they have been, which is really a lot of fun. I think that basically no matter what your IP of choice is going to be, or even if you don't have one, you just want to try something out, I think you're going to have a good time playing this. It feels a lot like miniatures combat.
Yeah.
One-on-one miniatures combat, maybe with, in some of the Jurassic Park ones that have more than one person on their team, but a lot of fun, especially if you like that dueling combat. Yeah,
this game was a lot of fun. To piggy off of what Ryan said, if dueling combat is like not your thing, but you think you'll like it because of the theme, you can test it out. But if dueling combat's not your thing, that's all you're doing. You're attacking each other in this game. That is what it is. But if the hand management aspect of it kind of appeals to you, then yeah, sure, try it out. But just like fair warning on that, that's what this game is. You're literally just attacking each other the entire time. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out. Until then, you can find us on Facebook, we're Ryan Bethany Board Game Reviews. On Twitter, we're Ryan Bethany 1. And on Instagram, we are Ryan and Bethany.
All right, you guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye. Everybody.